And hello, this is Rick Osmond, and this is Invest Comics TV. And today we're visiting with Mr. Scott Williams. And Scott, you are part of Project Fanboy. You want to tell us a little bit about that and how it came to be?
Project Fanboy is just it's a comic book website that me and my friend Stephen John drew, who lives in the Great North in Canada. We founded that back in 2005, and it was just a place that we wanted to create to talk about comics, and it kind of morphed into a little bit more than that. So,
what do you mean by a little bit more than that?
Well, now we've been quoted on things like trade paperbacks and whatnot for reviews that we've done. We have our own podcast. We did the Project Fanboy Awards down in MegaCon for 2 years now, and a bunch of different interviews and things like that with creators. So it's become quite a bit bigger than it originally was going to be. So
more than you ever anticipated, I take it.
Well, not more than I'd hoped, but we still have room to grow. So
I do understand that. We all have room to grow, but you say you've been at it a couple of years, and I know that you've hit quite a few people on the interviews, and some of them have been pretty almost legendary people within the industry. Who do you think would be your favorite?
Well, Sebastian is he's Sebastian Piccione. He's one of the administrators on Project Fanboy, and he does a lot of the interviews. And I just wanted to thank him first of all. He does a lot of the, especially written interviews, and he's got one with Dan Jurgens that's pretty popular on the site. It's a 3-part interview that he did, and so that's probably my favorite one so far.
Understood. Now, one of the other things that has grown out of your MegaCon stuff is the Project Fanboy Awards. How about describing for us what that is and how it works?
Okay, well, the Project Fanboy Awards are basically just the People's Choice Awards for comic books. They are nominated and voted on by the fans, and all the nominations are taken in by us at the site. And between November and December, that's when we open up the polls for actual voting. So fans have about 2 months to get their votes in, and after that we calculate all the votes and everything. And for the last 2 years, we've announced the winners at the Project Fanboy Awards down in MegaCon in Orlando, Florida. Cool. And we actually we're giving out plaques and things like that. So
good deal.
It's a pretty decent little gig. We had
what kind of categories do they have?
I'm sorry?
What kind of categories are in that?
Well, we're always trying to mold it and keep it creative and tailor it to what we think the people want to vote on. But there you can find categories like best comic book, best indie title, best. Right now we've kind of changed it from last year, so that now we have just best of the big two and best of the indies. And so they're kind of two main categories, and then there's subcategories underneath that. And you have best comic book character, best protagonist, antagonist, things like that. Best creator.
Good deal. So why don't you, I know that a lot of people already know about the website and how to get to this and submit nominations, etc., but why don't you go ahead and give that out, and we'll do it again at the end here.
Okay, if you'd like to, right now we're in the actual voting phase of the Project Fanboy Awards, being that it's December, and if you'd like to vote on that, you can go to awards.projectfanboy.com and just click the big click here link, and that'll send you right to the nomination ballot where you can vote.
All righty. And I understand that you're a big fan of one particular character yourself, which...
yes, I am.
Where's the
I am a big Quasar fan, first and foremost, and then after that would be Green Lantern. So I grew up reading Quasar comics in the 90s, and I was sad when it came to an end, but these things happen. So then I moved on to Green Lantern, and I've actually got a huge tattoo on my back with the Green Lantern symbol.
Oh, wow. Well, when I was younger, and it actually had some basis as a real comic. I was a big fan of the Phantom, another guy who wore a ring and was famous for it. So,
Yeah.
What do you think of the new trailer?
For the Green Lantern movie?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It seems, honestly, it looks a little cheesy. I'm not sure if Ryan Reynolds can pull off the serious role that I think is needed for Hal Jordan. I mean, he's a great actor, and I think that he would do well with someone like Wally West as the Flash. But he just seems more of a comedic kind of guy than the serious role that Hal Jordan seems to be.
Yeah, I've noticed that about that character. He's I don't think you could use the phrase down to earth with somebody like that, but serious and conservative. Those would be two distinct possibilities. But
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to talk about, but we'll do that right after this break, and that is some of your other activities that you take in.
Okay.
Wow. I know, right? Woo! What happens now?
You go look for trouble. Brightest day, blackest night.
Here's a riddle for you. What do the California gold rush of the 1850s, secret societies, coded messages, mysterious 19th century flying machines, and an early 20th century outside artist named Charles A.A. Delshaw all have in common? The Secrets of Delshaw by Dennis Crenshaw and Pete Navarro. Go to www.secretsofdelshaw.com to learn more. Okay, and we're back here with Scott Williams. And Scott, one of the things that we haven't covered in depth yet is there are a number of people who work behind the scenes at Project Fanboy. Not only yourself, but also Steve and Sebastian and a few others. You want to describe to us who they are and what they do?
Sure. Yeah, we've got a staff of columnists that write various columns for us on the website. We've also got a staff of people who do reviews for us. Like I mentioned, that a lot of our reviews have been used on have been quoted on things like trade paperbacks and different comic books and press releases and things like that. Sebastian, I mentioned already, he's probably the heart and soul of the website. He really gives it 100% and then some. And he goes out and gets a lot of the interviews. He goes out and he does a lot of the coordinating with different publishers to help us get on their mailing lists and things like that, and get the free books to review. Stephen is on the podcast, and he is the actual producer of the podcast. He also appears in the podcast, and Pete also is a co-host on the podcast. There is one thing that I did want to mention. Right now, we are debating on whether or not we're going to keep our Fanboy Buzz podcast phone line. And for anybody who's interested in us renewing it, you should call and leave us a little feedback.
All right.
And you can call, that number is 239-244-BUZZ, and you can get to the podcast at fanboybuzz.com.
Way cool. Now, we just kind of touched on the MegaCon and your participation in it. How'd you get started at MegaCon?
Well, we started out the Project Fanboy Awards, and at first it was just going to be something on the website, and then I had the idea to contact MegaCon, and Christine Alger and Beth Badera, who run the show down there at MegaCon, they just do a fantastic job, and they've given us the opportunity the last 2 years to host the Project Fanboy Awards ceremony down there free of charge. They've given us a panel room where we can do that and try to give back to the creators that give us the great entertaining stories that we get to read every year. So.
No doubt. Well, I've been entertained by comics for over 50 years, so my appreciation to that too. Which brings me to my next point, which is another point of appreciation, and that is for your service in the Army.
Thank you.
what you do, how often you do it, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, there's not really a whole lot to it. I just pump gas for the Army. I enlisted in 2003, and I've been at it ever since. So occasionally I get to jump out of an airplane. That's pretty fun.
It can be, or it can be absolutely devastating. But, you know, they got good medical for that. Anyway, I do appreciate your service, sir, and anything that we can do to support you and your fellow troops. Invest Comics TV is right there, so let us know.
Right on. Well, thank you.
And give us that website one more time, and then we'll try to wrap this one up a little bit.
Okay. You can visit Project Fanboy at projectfanboy.com. If you want to vote in the awards for the Project Fanboy Awards, you can find those at awards.projectfanboy.com. You can check out the podcast at fanboybuzz.com, which will redirect you to the Fanboy Buzz page on the Project Fanboy site. And if you'd like to read some reviews, we have reviews at reviews.projectfanboy.com. Pretty much anything you can think of, it's that at projectfanboy.com.
All righty. Pretty girls at projectfanboy.com.
Yeah, we don't have that one yet, but I'll be sure to get that one set up.
Yeah, I thought you might. Anyway, Scott, thank you very much for being with us today, and thank you also for your service. Continue both parts of that good work, and I'll look forward to talking with you again.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and good luck to Invest Comics TV.
Well, thank you.
All systems are functional.
And get past the range to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
Is there life on other planets?
This is nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman, and now I'm a voice in the Jackal's head.
Is the government keeping secrets from us?
This is Stephen Bassett, and I am now a voice inside the Jackal's head.
Want to find out more? Listen to the Jackal's Head on the Super Media Network.
The biggest trick the Jackal ever pulled was to convince the world that he doesn't exist.
And I just want to thank Scott one more time for participating in this interview with Invest Comics TV. Scott's information about Project Fanboy as well as MegaCon and Fanboy Buzz exemplifies what is going on with the populace that buys comic books. The people who are influenced by comic books can also turn the tide, turn back, and influence the comic book industry by being organized and by being vocal. So, folks, if you have something you want to see in comic books or certain changes you want to see in the way comic books are marketed or even on the creative side, don't be afraid to contact them. Don't be afraid to contact them through Fanboy Buzz, Project Fanboy, and some of the other organizations that have direct links to the industry. Again, Scott, thank you for coming and informing us. Also, Scott and Project Fanboy are illustrations of how Invest Comics TV brings to you the important people of the industry. Wait a minute, they're not in the industry. That's right, but they're still important to the industry. We bring you the movers and the shakers. No, not them. We bring you the people who matter. We'll talk to you soon.